How are you?
Good. How are you?
Not too bad.
Not too bad.
Yeah.
Busy?
Yeah. Um, Winding down my season with the ballet company.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is the last weekend.
Oh, wow. Nice. Then you'll have more time
All summer.
all summer?
Yeah,
Oh, wow. That's
yeah.
nice.
As of now.
Yeah. Until something else comes up.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Busy. My
Yeah.
daughter had all of her homeschooling testing, end of grade testing these last 2 days. So it's
Uh-huh.
been a lot. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So, I don't have a ton of questions prepared, but I just want the biggest question I have is I just want to know about your journey into perfume making. Like what got you started in it? What is it about perfume that is interesting to you? And are you self-taught or did you learn from somebody or somewhere?
My journey started when I was a kid.
Okay.
Um, I've always been into fragrance,
Mhm.
and I used to even my father and my grandmother, if a scent smelled good, I was gonna wear it.
Yeah.
So I would always, you know, steal sprays of their fragrances, before leaving the house.
Mhm.
Um, it's funny too. I'd always think I was getting away with something,
Yeah.
but just like um, a kid doesn't realize sound travels when they're
Mhm.
getting into mischief.
Mhm.
They also don't realize, I guess in this case, they also don't realize that scent travels
No.
too.
Yeah.
So they could always smell when I've been in their fragrances, but I never really got into trouble. They knew I wasn't using it for anything bad or anything. They just knew I liked wearing it. Maybe just tone down on the sprays, don't overspray.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and so I would say my first fragrance I ever bought um, when I was a when I was a teenager. Oddly, believe it or not, for my 13th birthday, this is what I wore. I wore a suit to school.
Oh, wow.
And I don't know what prompted me to do that,
Yeah.
but I just wore a suit to school. And from that point on, I was always into dressing up.
Yeah.
So that said, I actually started buying GQ magazine on a
Oh,
regular
okay.
basis and seeing advertisements for colognes in GQ magazine
Mhm.
and all of the scent strips that they had in the magazines that
Mhm.
actually, let you smell what something smelled like.
Yeah.
Um, Really fascinated me, so that's what made me want to start collecting fragrances.
Mm.
So I would go to, and it's an old chain, and I'm kind of dating myself, but I would go to Emporium
Yeah.
and go to the scent counter just to see what all these fragrances I've seen in magazines smelled like,
Mhm.
and I would douse myself in them. I have one here, one here, one here, one here, one here, one here, one here,
Yep.
one here, one here, and just try to remember what was what.
Yeah.
Short of creating a map for myself where everything was. Of course,
Right.
it all blended together, so I just smelled like a mess.
Yeah.
But uh, um, so yeah, finally, I said, okay, I have to get myself, a fragrance because at the time I still didn't have one for myself. So the very first fragrance I ever bought, it wasn't a cologne, it was actually an aftershave,
Mhm.
and it was gray flannel.
Oh, okay.
And the reason I got the aftershave is again, I was 13.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to save my money up to get this fragrance. Well, the aftershave was cheaper than the cologne. So
Yeah.
at the time, that was all I could afford.
Mhm.
Um, so fast forward a couple months, I'm getting better at saving my money. And there's a scent that I smelled in GQ called L'Homme, not
Mhm.
the Yves Saint Laurent L'Homme. Um, but this is by a company called Roger and Galette.
Yeah.
And this this along with another scent called JHL,
Mhm.
I would say really amped up my interest in fragrance. Part of the reason is because they're both at the time for me, again, as a kid, they were so expensive.
Yeah.
And so when I finally got Loam, I was so proud of myself because, I saved up all my money. I got this awesome fragrance. And, a week later, I dropped the damn bottle and it broke.
Oh no. Oh no.
And so I was so crestfallen
Yes, crestfallen. Yes.
that I never really bothered to get another bottle of it.
Yeah.
And finally, when I was interested in getting another bottle of it, they discontinued it.
Right.
So so yeah, kind of fast forward, my interest in fragrance as I got older, it was always there. It was always there. It was always there.
Mhm.
But it never dawned on me to become a perfumer.
Right.
So jump all the way to 2013, maybe.
Mhm.
I'm looking for a review on one of the Terry Mugler Angel fragrances.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about getting it. I had never smelled it, and I was just interested to see, what people thought of this. And um, I'm directed to a review on YouTube.
Mhm.
So I look at it, but I'm looking in the right hand column where they have all the suggested reviews.
Mhm.
I'm looking in that column, and there is a video on how to create your own eau de toilette. And
Oh.
so I just decided, yeah, open it up just to see, what goes into this. And, this lady, basically she had a lot of fragrance oils.
Mhm.
I at the time I didn't know that,
Mhm.
they were fragrance oils and not quote unquote aroma chemicals.
Right.
But I opened it up and I watched it, and I must have watched this thing about 5 times straight. And finally I said to myself, you know what? I think I could do this.
Yeah.
So I researched on how to get those chemicals,
Mhm.
how to get perfumers alcohol, and that's another odd story. But I got them all and I started playing with them, and I was, you know what? Yeah, 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 I think this is something I may want to pursue.
Yeah.
So that's how I got into perfumery.
That's amazing. So you're kind of self-taught.
I am self-taught, yes.
That
Yeah.
is so awesome. See, in
Um,
all my favorite houses, they're all self-taught people. I just think that there's something so, I don't know, there's so much more creativity that goes into people who are self-taught and who just play with things and make things. And, I just love it.
Not to be pretentious or anything like that, but more often than not, people who are self-taught are actually artists,
You're right. Yeah.
and there are times when, I say to people, I'm not a photographer, I'm an artist.
Hmm.
I'm not a perfumer, I'm an artist.
Right.
You know, again, and that's not to be pretentious,
No, it's just who
or
you are.
it's just, yeah, it's just who I am.
Yeah. Yeah. Which I recognize that immediately. I mean,
Thank you.
you've got your hands into so many things. And you can tell that it's just really your passion, and that you're not just a perfumer, you're not just a costume maker, you don't just work with leather, like you're just an artist and just super passionate about everything that you get into. My dad was the same way, which is
Uh-huh.
why I have such a, I can recognize it, really easily, because my dad, he wasn't the same type of artist that you are. He was more into like drawing, which you are too.
Yes.
But he could do anything. He could do sculpture. He could throw pottery. He could paint. He could paint with any medium, oil painting, watercolors. He could use pastels, like literally just anything.
See, anybody anybody who works with oil paint, you
Yeah,
just list the three: oil paint, pastels, and watercolors.
yeah.
Anybody who could work with those three mediums, I have the greatest admiration for, because I make such a mess with all three of them.
Me too. I've tried.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get any of the artistic gene at all. I'm really sad because my two brothers did, but I didn't. I'm definitely creative in my own ways, but I didn't get that, like, that artist gene. And I
Uh-huh.
wish I had, but
Well,
yeah.
creative in your own ways. In what ways?
So I just like to do things like, and I'm self-taught in everything I do too. If I'm interested in something, I'll just pick it up and I'll learn how to do it myself. Um, I just do stuff like I love to cross stitch. I love to crochet. I
Uh-huh.
can't really paint or draw, but I can make jewelry. I can do things like that. I guess more crafty things rather than like artistic things. And I have a good nose. So
Um, yeah, me personally, I consider those things artistic. You
yeah.
know, I've seen people use crochet in an
Hmm.
artistic manner. They create images
Yeah.
within their crochet. So
Hmm.
that is artistic to me.
Yeah, it can be for sure. So, what are your favorite perfumes to create? What are your favorite styles of perfumes
Um,
or fragrances, I should say?
I hate using this term, you know, um, and I honestly think that we need to um, find a better word for this, but I do like Oriental
Oh,
styles,
yeah. Hmm.
um, mostly. But lately, as you may as you may have seen, I've been really getting a lot into my florals,
Yes.
So
Yeah.
um because yeah, as you can tell, I do, love my flowers.
Yes.
um to me, uh I just think flowers are the earth's way of smiling,
Yes.
and I love putting that in a bottle,
Which is amazing.
you
And you
know
do florals amazing.
thank you.
Yes.
um White florals, I love, your jasmines and your gardenias, your lily of the valleys. I've been
Yes.
loving, or actually, when I started my white floral journey, it started with those.
Yeah.
I'm still in search of creating a gardenia scent for men,
Yes.
because gardenia, just screams feminine.
It does.
Gardenia is my favorite flower, so I would really like to create a gardenia scent for men.
Yeah.
Um, and then you got your yellow florals, like your magnolias and your narcissus, and um, there's this one magnolia chemical that I use in almost everything. So yeah, it's like my go-to.
Yeah.
I mean, magnolia kind of toes, kind of sits the fence between white and yellow floral.
Right.
But lately, I've been interested in getting into, not getting into, but creating a purple floral.
Oh,
So that
yeah.
would be, your violets, your lilacs,
Right.
things like that. And I actually did start creating a violet and plum
Oh my
scent.
goodness.
Because Lulu and Jerry made me realize I have this plum accord that I created about 4 years ago that
Mhm.
I've never used.
Oh my goodness.
So um, so yeah, I picked that up and I put something together for them, and then soon after that, I started creating this plum and violet fragrance, which I'm really proud of. It's almost like it came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times when I'll create something, it smells nothing like what I envisioned it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I think Evelyn Cecile was like that.
Hmm.
It smelled nothing like how I envisioned.
Yeah.
So, and honestly, yeah, that what else was like that? Apple rum and jasmine was like that.
Ooh.
Um, what else? There's like two or three others that wanted, in a sense, they wanted to be themselves. You
Yeah.
know, like they wouldn't do what I would tell them.
Right. Yeah.
And us and oh, drifting. Drifting
Oh, I love
was
drifting.
drifting was exactly like that. It was like far from what I expected.
Yeah. It's
And
so beautiful.
so yeah, not only that, but it was a challenge for me in a sense because I can't stand lavender.
Oh, okay.
Lavender is one of the scents that I just don't really like, just because I don't want to say everybody uses it, but it's like you see it everywhere.
You do. Yeah.
um and it's something about it is so screechy that it's kind of a turn off for me.
Yeah. It's super
um
medicinal.
yeah.
Yeah.
Another one that I want to challenge myself with that I haven't really, I mean, I did one, but it 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 really needs a overhaul. But it's leather.
Yeah.
Leather and suede. I've
Mhm.
never really put something together that has a good leather and suede accord in it.
Yeah. So where do the inspiration or where does the inspiration come from your fragrances? Do you have like, because I know a lot of the time you have stories that you've written and then you will create a fragrance based around that story. Is that how it happens a lot of the time? Or sometimes do you just have notes in your mind that you just want to play with and make the center of a fragrance? Or how does that process go?
Yes, yes, and yes.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
it's a multitude of things. Sometimes, um, I'll give you an example. So, walking down the street one day,
Hmm.
I walked past this bush of this night blooming jasmine,
Yeah.
and it the scent of it just instantly reminded me of a girlfriend I had in high school.
Hmm.
And so I literally went home and wrote a story, based on that reminder,
Yeah.
of and this is going to be a scent I release maybe sometime in the future. It's called Memories of a Dream.
Oh, wow.
And it's actually something I want to film and
Hmm.
associate fragrance with it.
Yeah.
So it's basically this artist just drawing this picture,
Hmm.
and once the picture is finished, it's a picture of this woman that he used to date.
Hmm.
And the I guess I should say that the crux of the story is actually something that happened. So the reason why that jasmine bush reminded me of her is because I remember one day when I was walking her home, we walked by a jasmine bush. She plucks a little sprig of jasmine from that bush and
Hmm.
she sticks it in her hair like this.
Yeah.
So I walk her home, and I'm saying, we get to her house, I'm saying goodbye to her.
Hmm.
She gives me a hug, and that jasmine just buried itself in my nose.
Yeah.
and that was all I could smell. And so I
Hmm.
remember walking home, that scent still being in my nose.
Yeah.
So that's a big part of this story.
Hmm.
You know, I incorporated that into the story.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, so the jasmine is the central focus of the story.
Yeah.
So that's one example. Another example is sometimes I get them from dreams.
Oh, wow.
You know,
Yeah.
a few weeks ago, let me backtrack. One of the scents that I sent you was called Je Peux Rêver.
Yes, it's gorgeous.
So I created that about 4 years ago. It was before the pandemic.
Hmm.
Um, so I created it. I named it. That's been its name all along.
Yeah.
Je Peux Rêver is French for I can dream.
Oh, okay.
Fast forward to a few weeks ago, I have this dream where I'm walking to a friend of mine's house, and this friend is into birds.
Hmm.
So I'm walking to her house, and I stopped because I remember seeing this tree that was just this bright, almost neon like green
Hmm.
that just had this glow and this aura around it.
Hmm.
And the odd thing about it too is that it had these hummingbirds flying around it. And
Yeah.
the one thing I really noticed about these hummingbirds is that they were white.
Oh, wow.
So I remember when I woke up, I looked up white hummingbirds, and they're very, very, very rare.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if this is in existence or recently, but there have only been 100 white hummingbirds spotted. You know, and if you look online, you can see pictures of what they look like.
Yeah.
There's two different types. One is an albino, which has red eyes,
Hmm.
and the other is a Lositic or something like that hummingbird that has like little gray flecks through its feathers.
Oh, wow.
But I decided to use that dream for my imagery whenever I create or not create, but release Je Peux Rêver.
Hmm.
So its central figure is going to be a person dressed as a white hummingbird.
That's
Um,
awesome.
as a matter of fact, you can see, right? I keep doing this wrong. Right here,
Uh-huh.
that's the headpiece for it, this white thing right here.
Oh my goodness.
So this is going to be the headpiece for it.
That is incredible. My goodness, you just make the most beautiful things I've ever seen. That is just incredible.
And right next to it, that is going to be the headpiece for the next fragrance coming out, but I'm not telling you which one it is.
Okay.
I will say that it is in that batch of scents I sent to you.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Well, I'll be happy with any single one that you want to release. They're all amazing. Every single one of them. So that was going to be my next question. How do you how do you decide how so the story about the white hummingbird and all that, is that usually how it goes when you are deciding on how you're going to kind of style a perfume or what the whole feeling around the perfume is going to be? Or sometimes is it just random? Sometimes do you just think, well,
Yeah.
I just want this one to be styled in this way?
Um, very rarely it's random.
Hmm.
Um, what was a random one? Je peux rêver, not Je te vole. That
Oh, yeah.
imagery was random. You know, that was a picture I'd taken 8, 9 years ago.
Hmm.
Uh, so yeah, that one was kind of random. Um, but more often than not, from start to finish, it's conceptualized.
Yeah. Which is what I kind of figured. I thought, I don't think he does many things that are just random. I think everything you do has a real purpose, and it was a seed at one time and then it blooms
Right.
into a full, yeah, flower. Like
Yeah.
you just know what it's going to be from the time you think of it to the time it's, you release it. So
Uh-huh. Yeah.
yeah, which is awesome. So the headdress behind you with the blue feathers and like the green fern, what is that one? Can I ask what that one is for?
Um, well,
Or
like I
is
said,
that something that's not been
like I
released
said,
yet?
it's the next fragrance that I release, but
Oh, okay.
I'm kind of keeping that one secretive.
Okay, which that's totally cool. Yeah, that's amazing too. Wow.
But yeah, this is macaw feathers.
Oh my goodness.
Um, yeah.
That is stunning. I mean, just incredible. And to know that it just comes out of your imagination.
So yeah, this is the mask and this is the headpiece.
That is beautiful. My goodness.
Yeah, I've really gotten into creating these headpieces a lot lately, you know.
Yeah, they're so beautiful. I've just never seen anything like them, really. No. So, how many fragrances do you usually release in a year?
I'm trying to slow down,
Yes.
however, because it's kind of overkill, you
Yeah.
know.
Mm-hmm.
I think in 2021, I must have released about 9,
Oh, wow. And that's a
um,
lot.
9, maybe 10. But and the problem with that is if somebody orders one
Mm-hmm.
and they really like it and they
Mm-hmm.
start talking about it,
Mm-hmm.
then everybody's going to gravitate towards that one
Mm-hmm.
and not pay attention to the other two that were released on alongside of it.
Right.
Uh, I actually started doing that with believe it or not, in 2017 I created a series to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Summer of Love,
Mm-hmm.
and it was actually a series of 6 fragrances,
Wow.
and
Yeah.
it was split up. There was one that was done released at the beginning of the summer,
Mm-hmm.
and then the other 3 were the end of the summer.
Mm-hmm.
But those first 3 were Orange Sunshine,
Mm-hmm.
Damn Hippie,
Mm-hmm.
and White Rabbit.
Oh, wow.
So you can kind of tell now where the name comes from.
Yes. Yeah.
So
That makes a lot of sense.
so yeah, and then the second 3 were Ghost Dance, Pearl, and one called Strawberry Love Pop.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the only strawberry scent I've ever made. But I had started releasing things in 3 and then kind of got addicted to releasing 3 at once.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like I said, the problem with that is focus will go on one scent and then the 2 just kind of get kicked to the curb. So yeah, that's basically one of the issues I have had with myself
Mm-hmm.
is releasing too many. Now I'm seriously considering doing a second brand,
Yeah.
like I was saying to you,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
uh, and making that more limited releases,
Yeah.
either limited or things that are very high quality as far as the ingredients goes. Like for
Mm-hmm.
instance, Evelyn Cecile would probably be in that group.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's something I'm still brainstorming, and I'll probably flesh that out throughout the summer.
Yeah. And I think that that would be an amazing idea, because then you can do really special things for that second line. Not that not every single one of your fragrances are not really special, they are. But it would be interesting to see how that second line would be for you creatively, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. And also too, just to see how something performs,
Yeah,
as far as with the audience.
right. Yeah, because then it could be a much more limited thing, and you wouldn't necessarily have to add a fragrance to your lineup that you've already got
Hmm.
blindly, not
Hmm.
knowing if it's going to be well received or not.
Right, right.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I was going to ask you something else, and now I completely forgot. And then I do this all the time, all the
Oh, I
time.
do too. No,
Yeah.
I do too.
Oh my
My
goodness.
my short-term memory is horrible.
Mine is too. It's if I don't like ask right away or say it out loud right away, it's gone. Um,
Yeah, yep, I could be looking at something on the internet
yeah.
and say to myself, "Oh wow, I should look this up,"
Yep.
and keep looking at that something on the internet. 10 seconds later, when I want to go back to whatever it was I was thinking about, I've forgotten it.
That's me too. Oh my gosh, exactly.
Yeah.
It's the worst. It's the worst. Oh, I know what I was going to ask you. So
Okay.
you're a one-man show. Like
Yes.
you do everything. You come up with all of the conceptualization of every fragrance. You are the one that produces all of it, bottles it, does all the photography, costume, everything. You do everything, which is
Right.
amazing. You do not
Right.
have anybody that helps you.
I am a firm believer in a quote that I've come up with is no one knows your vision better than you.
Yes.
And a lot of times when I see a designer or something like that create a design and it gets created, it won't look anything like what they designed
Mm-hmm.
because it's gone through so many hands, you know.
Right.
So me doing everything myself is, again, it's not out of pretentiousness. It's just I know my own vision,
Right.
and I know what this is intended to be.
Mm-hmm.
When I create films, I'm often the one directing it, editing it,
Mm-hmm.
writing it,
Yeah.
yeah, costuming it,
Yes.
so
And it's mind blowing to me because I don't know how you do it all. Like how you, because you're not just a perfumer, you're doing
yeah, right.
a ton of other things in the background as well. Like you said at the beginning of the beginning of us talking, that you were working on a ballet, doing all of the costumes for a ballet. Is that right?
No, I work for a ballet
Or
company.
worked for a ballet?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there I'm just, I'm just the dresser. I'm kind of like the father figure backstage. I
Yeah.
help take care of everybody and help keep them happy.
Yeah.
But
But
no, there at that company, I'm not artistically, I have no flex.
uh-huh.
Although there are other dance companies I have designed for,
Right.
opera companies as well. I've
Yeah.
designed for.
But even still, I mean, you do that, you're working on a documentary, is that correct?
Yeah,
Working on a
I'm working
documentary.
on a documentary about something that's the farthest from fragrance that you can get is a one about roller derby,
Yeah.
old school roller derby.
Uh-huh.
Because my father used to be a roller derby skater, and I know all of these skaters in the roller derby family. Um, so yeah, that's the first one I want to create, or I am creating. It's halfway done. Um, and then I would love to. There's two more I would really love to create. One about muses and then one about carnival in Venice.
Yeah. Oh, that would be so cool too. So yeah, you're into a lot of different things, and then making your own costumes, and it's amazing to me.
Thank you.
It really is. Yeah. Well, we're about to run out of time. Sadly, I don't know how it went so quickly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. When that popped up, I was like, "What?"
What? I know. We've been talking for like 10 minutes. Could it have
Exactly.
been
Yeah,
30? Well, it was so good to talk to you.
it's great to talk to you too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And we'll have to do it again
absolutely.
soon.
I think we can do these once a month,
Yeah.
because that's like the limit, 40 minutes a month or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've both hit our limits for the month.
Well, and you should seriously consider if you could meet other perfumers,
Yeah.
start doing interviews,
Yeah.
because you're great at it.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, I will. I'll try and maybe I can reach out to people
Yeah.
and see if they'd be interested in doing it. Yeah. Well, I don't really know how to end it. I hate to say goodbye.
Looks like this thing is going to end for us. So.
Yeah, that's exactly right.